This is Rune Gregerson, and we're here with Freya Aswynn, and she's going to be looking at a chart of a man that I know, my husband, and we're going to be taking a look at it with the runes. And this is a service that Freya offers, and how much is it, Freya?
$50.
$50. And Freya, as you all may know, is a famous author. She is a, what would we call you, the grandmother of all rune knowledge in the modern day. Does that fit you?
Yeah, I'm getting there, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Without Miss Aswynn, a lot of people wouldn't have their first steps in Ossetru or in rune lure, including me. So she's going to be taking a look at Rob's chart.
Right, I got to that. Here we are, Ascendant 23-degree Capricorn. I got to line up the Ascendant and the Descendant. So the houses line up with the runes. So the rune in the first house tells something about that, what's going on in that first house. And the first house, or all the houses, they are fields of experience. So the first house is how the person experiences himself, his first priority, how he navigates the world. This man is 61 years old, he is just coming out of his second Saturn return. Lucky bastard. The first Saturn return fucks you up the ass. With the second one, that's when everything came together for me. The second Saturn return is the path of wisdom. If you have deployed, most, or resolved the factors in your chart. Now, the house system for the runes relate to the subject matter of that house. It no longer is a 12th month reading. I find out that the further you go on, that what manifests below the line of the Ascendant and Descendant tends to happen. The other lot at the bottom tends to happen within about 6 months. After that, it gets very diffused. So these readings, somebody asked me, how often do you do a reading like that? And it got me to think. I said, well, so far I've only done them once a year. And I found that, January, February, March, fine. Then around June, July, it goes either totally off in space with all kinds of nice stuff, but it is no longer rooted in the issues of the world. And that is what most people need of a reading. I mean, for spiritual peoples, the planets in the runes in the upper half of the horoscope are indicators of progress, contacts with your guides or gods, whatever. So I'm first going to say something about the chart. I just don't have confidence to do this totally. So I've been making notes.
Oh, that's fine.
Right. And as I said, this chart is of somebody who was born 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thereabouts. The ascendant is Capricorn. The thing about ascendant Capricorns are they born old. They are very serious. Even as youngsters, they're cautious. They have their own power centered in their identity. They're very earthbound. They are very much interested in making money, setting up a business, and they have the power to do so. So this is a strong placing. This person is disciplined, orderly, and patient, and has a great sense of responsibility. That is the positive side of Saturn, is sense of responsibility, and I lost it, I should have known. 29-degree Capricorn, and because Saturn, 29-degree Capricorn, and Jupiter, 6-degree Aquarius. Now, Jupiter in Aquarius is fine, it's a good placing. Saturn in Capricorn is excellent. It rules the bugger. So this placing is very good to make your way in the world. Saturn may mean that when he grew up, he didn't have the so-called white privilege. In fact, he was shit poor, and he did it all with the power of the will of Saturn and the opening up and taking of the opportunities of Jupiter.
That's 100% correct. For him, that's 100% accurate for him.
This is correct, you say?
Yes, very. Yeah, for him, yeah, he had a rough upbringing.
The moon is also in the first house. Also in Aquarius. It's opposed. It's in opposition with the moon node, the north node. Now, the north node is what you have to do. And it's in Virgo. And he is doing it because Virgo is the path of service, and that's what his work is. He counsels people, he helps people. And in the birth chart, there's lots of squares and a lot of awkward shit, but most of it is totally resolved by the way he lives his life.
Mm-hmm.
So that is beautiful. Chiron and Pluto in an opposition. Chiron in Pisces, the universal consciousness, it's ruled by Neptune. Chiron is the healer. Pisces is the sign of psychism, including, to use the term I don't like, psychological instabilities, mental health. And Chiron is the healer. So, would he have been born in a rich environment, he would have made a damn good psychiatrist. Now, he's doing it by using his clairvoyance abilities, which are indicated by Pluto conjunct that node. So Pluto is the supplier of the insight from the other realms, from previous lives, from other people or they don't need to be in incarnation, because the opposite of the second house is the eighth house. And yeah, people always think Pluto in the eighth house means somebody is kind of snappy.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Pluto is the one with the power. Pluto is the one with the drive. Pluto is the one with composed. Pluto drives him from Virgo. The practical mind, the ideas, the realization, what you have to oppose, i.e., complemented by the moon. Complemented by, not the moon, Chiron, in Aquarius. That is the occult work he's doing. That is on the axis, the seventh house. And having Venus in there as well, in Aries, however, it is actually, it's a good way of earning an honest living.
Mm-hmm.
He is worth his earnings. Now, we both know there's lots of bullshit and there's lots of charlatans.
Yes.
But he is absolutely the real McCoy. Third house, Sun in Taurus. That basically puts a nicer face on his Saturn in Capricorn. Because the Sun in Taurus has to do with nature and the earth. And it's in the third house, the center of attraction in among his friends and colleagues. Everybody likes him. Everybody is drawn to him. And it's in Taurus, so if he was female, I would say he is the Earth Mother type, where people come to with their problems. Well, it expresses itself through the mind, which expresses itself through the body. Now, Mercury in the fourth house, that means to me, and it's also in Taurus, that suggests to me that very early on he learned to think on his feet, to get what he needed, if not what he wanted. But he never really starved or froze because he knew how to think on the hoof and to act on the hoof. That is Mercury. He always managed to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, he does.
You know, and whether it's doing little jobs for the neighbors or a bit of shoplifting, heavens be all indulged in that one, he managed to survive.
Yes, exactly.
Right. The fifth house is empty, the sixth house is empty. The seventh house, he's got Mars, which Mars is in the first grade of Leo. Mars in this case is very good. It is opposed to, in an opposition with Jupiter. So Jupiter's over-optimistic, is Jupiter's unrealistic expectations are tempered by Mars. Mars in Leo. Mars in Leo will point out that you have to work your ass off to get that. And also, you, or any partner, but you particularly, in the seventh house, you are the one who keeps him energized and kicks his lazy ass when it's needed.
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes he kicks mine.
Taurus. They like their comfort.
Yes.
Uranus in Leo. That Uranus in Leo is opposite the moon. Moon is in Aquarius. And the moon is the the imagination in the terms of fantasy, fairy tales, science fiction, even if you want. Uranus is science and science fiction. Uranus is thinking, is the moon receives its inspiration from the past, from the subconscious, from earlier experience in life at his age. But Uranus draws the inspiration from the higher regions.
Mm-hmm.
And it is shining through the sign of Leo, another fire energetic sign. So it is by flashes of ideas and intuition. So he's got the axis of imagination and creativity with the moon at the edge of the, well, still in the first house, in a bed, where it is not very strongly placed, but his mate is in the opposite, in Leo, the ruler of Aquarius. So what could have been a difficult aspect, once this is it, once you are involved in any kind of spiritual stuff, these aspects change, they become inspiration rather than thwarting.
Ah.
Because Uranus is quite capable of making things blow up in the 7th house. You know, rows and things like that, or business, or, you know, somebody. But no, in his house, it's used on a higher level. And it's not opposing the moon. The two can live side by side in his mind. And that's probably what comes out with the tarot and that stuff he does. Part of it from the past, the subconscious, the experience, but the other part comes from the future. The obviously not set in stone future, but what you pick up on through Uranus in fire sign, intuition, Leo, is a probability from the future. And as soon as you become aware of that probability given to you by Uranus from the future, it immediately makes it a stronger probability for manifestation than anything what may be just as good but is not manifest. It's in the conscious, and that's where it's stayed. So you've got the subconscious, you've got the superconscious, and this brother is having a part. Oh, right. The other thing, he's got Neptune in Scorpio. It's a comfortable place, and Scorpio is a water sign, but it's a fixed sign, of course. So Neptune, you know, could the sun, the will, opposite, no, yeah, in a big, wide opposition with Neptune, could mean that from the 9th house, again, we're talking about one of the spiritual houses, and Neptune also picking up from a higher level, but the same signature as Venus, compassionate but universal. Venus operates on the human level, Neptune operates on the collective level. So that is that. And it is in opposition with the sun. That is probably in his life, he has to make choices between doing something what is matter, Taurus, or doing something what is deeper occult, which is Scorpio. He's been pulled in 2 directions. But at his age now, he managed to integrate this aspect and looks after both. His work is working with the invisible, with the unseen, and he makes a nice living with the sun in Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna scrounge a spliff and then I'll lay the room down.
All right.
So, are you happy with that?
Yes, very accurate. 100%.
Oh, thanks. Come. Before I lay the rooms out, is there any specific things what I have to look at?
Maybe just this next year for him. Yeah, because he's turning 60 this year. So, they're kind of almost over his second Saturn return here.
Yeah, he's coming up to Saturn's return. Yes.
Yeah.
And it will be smooth.
Good.
I mean, the first Saturn return is always a bastard because all the unfinished business comes up around that age. Excess, or you break up, or you lose your job, or that's always but it works out for different people, For our kind of people, it often leads through that like when I had my first Saturn return, I dumped everything in Holland and I moved to England to stay there. I left behind a man, a house, numerous books, everything, signed it over, walked away. Best thing I ever done. My second Saturn return, I was here on my own. And Paul turns up in need. I was just going to help him out for a couple of weeks. But we got on and he's still here.
Yeah.
And he's good company. He goes for joints. He's not unequal. But,
He keeps you grounded.
He
keeps you grounded.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't eat at all. He gives me protein drinks and stuff like that. Right, I'm now gonna focus on the rooms, even do a bit of. Just him, how he's doing. And there is a gable there.
Huh.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah. As I already noticed in the chart, everything is balanced. Saturn is balanced with Jupiter in the chart. Here the gable is also speaking about balance between himself and, let's look what's in his seventh house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's the one you're doing in the seventh house.
Ah.
Yeah. So, that axis is nice. That is you and him.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. You are his joy.
Oh.
You really are. Second house is about business, money. Big time. Guess what I got?
Oh, very good.
And next to the gable, it looks like it is given, i.e., either given in, a big tax rebate or something, or a gift of the gods, where an opportunity to earn more opens up.
Nice.
The gable and the field is the gift of money on the most basic level. But of course, we translate that within our world paradigm. So that's good. Not only money, but also the energy to do what he is doing. Yeah, it fits nicely in with the healing power of Chiron.
Nice.
As I said about counseling people, now he is a tarot counselor or whatever. And actually, he could have been a psychotherapist if he ever had the money to go to university. But you know what? These people take forever. You keep coming back, and all they do is root around in a shitty childhood, and you feel shit. When we work with people, we solve their problem in the here and now.
Yes.
Or we give them a magical technique to root out all that. What do you think I had to root out for my childhood?
Yeah, exactly.
But now, and then what they charge compared to the likes of us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the second house I'm talking about money. Normally, you know me, I'm not fussed about it,
Yeah.
I just, yeah. Dagas in the third house, a brightening up. And the third house to him probably is regular clients.
Nice.
The third house is communications with neighbors, siblings, people you meet every day. But I would extend that to include clients, because it is another social house where you interact with the world. And there is Dagas there. So a big leap forward.
Nice.
The gable, the field, the Dagas. In the fourth house, the house of, well, I would say prior experience rather than mommy and daddy issues, because they're still old for that crap.
Yeah.
Past experiences, either from this life or before, who's to know? Avas. He's only put for a massive challenge, and he has to take a risk. based on his prior experiences.
I see.
The fourth house is familiar territory, the home.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the challenge is, it will be something he has to. He's got to take a chance with something, and the house, of course, includes the business, yeah?
Yes.
Not just the kitchen and the front room.
Yeah.
The fourth house does include his business. And that is, a learning experience, shall we say. The fourth house also is an occult house. So it may involve on the outer world taking a risk, but on the inner world getting another initiation, because that's where the initiations happen. In the outer world there is a massive challenge or risk or whatever, and if you follow your higher self or your gods, then it becomes an experience of an initiatic experience. An initiatic experience always leads to more gnosis. Gnosis being direct experience.
Mm-hmm.
Gnosis doesn't depend on ritual. It may help, but like with all initiations are between you and the universe. Other people are proxy
Mm-hmm.
for parts of your own higher self. Okay. What you enjoy doing. It's a house of pleasure. It is the inner child or inner teenager. This is the house where you listen to your favorite music from the 60s.
Yeah.
Sixth house is to enjoy. My fifth house is some nice music in the background, a good book, and a bar of chocolate. And a spray. Right. Sixth house, health and work. Sixth house has the 30 room. And within the context of the sixth house being service and work, that is, this room gives itself from the best. A push, a stimulus.
All right.
When you're in the seventh house, which is you, eighth house Othala inverted. Now, Othala, apart from being property and all that, it also is the clan and the family.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's in the eighth house, where Pluto is. And then we got the Rune.
Yeah. I've got my thoughts go to his father, who's quite older, near 80. So I'm not sure.
But it looks like that there will be an eighth house event.
Okay.
It won't be you, it won't be him, because the eighth house is opposite the second house. The second house is your assets, your money, what you own, what you earn. The eighth house is other people's. So if somebody dies, then it is somebody else. And because it is an Othala, and it is somebody from your own community, because Othala is not just your family. Othala, in the old days, the Othala was a massive big hof, and not everybody was related. It's your somebody, I would say community rather than family. but it could be both. But it's not so. It happens, yeah. But it day with so many people, I get this. I got exactly the same place for somebody a couple of days ago, and the only thing I can think about, it's like when when this pandemic was at its height, everybody drew either the Hagelsroom or the tower.
Mm-hmm.
This is a collective placing.
I see.
Yeah, like Steve Wilson, he is dead now, an occultist in London, a good friend. He didn't know. He was doing tarot readings somewhere at an event, one after the other. And every time that bloody tower turned up, and it was only after he was finished, he put the news on, he heard what happened. And when I was doing readings for people, the Hagelas, or the Hagelas usually means the pandemic. In this day and age, it has its own meaning. But the runes express themselves in the meaning of our day and age now. So, ninth house, Kenas, more knowledge, Kenas. And now, yeah, so the eighth house death will result or facilitate knowledge flow into more knowledge. The Kenas rune knows is really the deeper meaning. Kenas from the ninth house, and ninth house we know is the spiritual house.
Mm-hmm.
Higher education, metaphysics. And the 10th house is the job. Okay, here is where I get manas inverted. And it's in Scorpio, Neptune. It's linked up with Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
The ninth house. No, but it should be the 10th. This is the 10th house. 10th house is also Scorpio. Opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Probably at work. I don't know, since she's self-employed, I don't know how that could work out. But that is something there, something.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye out then.
Yeah. 11th house is again groups. That's where we have a Hagelas room. Okay. Now, this is a personal enemy from the past. What comes to mind right now is the bloke you closed down. The one who was copying your website details.
Oh, yeah, that, it was on Instagram. And they basically, copied all of our details, but I posed as a potential client, contacted them, and I got their email for their PayPal, and I reported them to PayPal because they were claiming to be Rob. And they were impersonating us on Instagram.
Yes, well, you've made some serious, well, not serious, but you made enemies there. Because this manas inverted is usually enmity anyway, personal enmity. But Hagelas in the 11th house, to me, would say, be aware of slander and gossip behind your back. And this is with regard to Rob's business.
All right. Yeah, we'll keep our eyes out then. Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny that the inverted manas rune, using the astrological paradigm for a moment, is opposite the A ones. So this could be the test. He has come up.
Mm.
And it is manas. It's about being a man.
Ah. See.
12th house A was movement from the 12th house down, which is 12th house is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is in Scorpio. Working with the deeper layers of magic, was traveling, obtaining information, traveling the nine worlds or whatever method you use. It's in the 12th house, it would be traveling between the dimensions.
Ah.
Yeah. The cusp of the 12th house is in Sagittarius anyway, and this is the horse room, so this is something what will definitely happen.
Ah. Wow. Wow, that would, yeah, overall great reading. Yeah, wonderful. Just all the insights combined with the runes and his planets on his chart, the houses. Great. Since you taught me the runes, it resonates with me so well. And then for somebody that, may not be familiar with the runes or just have like a basic understanding, but then understands astrology, it brings out other aspects that they don't even know about, that would be...
it's a multi-dimensional reading.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Now, the same can be done on a solar return. Well, yeah, it's a chart. So if somebody wants to have a reading for a year, then, like the old 12-month reading, if I use a solar return, it probably would work. I have to... Yeah, I will. Yeah. Or even a progress chart or a horary chart. I mean, it can fit in with any astrological chart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. Great.